What's up, guys? Welcome back to Flipping the Script Fishing. Now, many reservoirs in the winter months will draw their water down, especially here in Tennessee, but they do it all over the country. And that opens up lots of opportunities for bank fishing. There's lots of shoreline access that opens up, and it gives you an opportunity to fish areas that you couldn't usually fish during the warmer months. Furthermore, it will cut off areas of the lake so people with boats cannot get to them. So it gives you access to fish that aren't pressured as much. There are a couple things that you need to remember just to maximize your chances for success. The first thing is try to pack light. Take 3 to 5 rods at most. And you want these rods to be varying degrees of action, so that way it gives you more versatility. I would also highly suggest getting a pair of waders, and that way you can deal with the mud that's exposed and also walk out into the shallow water and retrieve lures when you get stuck, because you will get stuck. Having waders also helps you to be able to cast to the same structures from different angles, creek banks and ledges and different things like that, in order to get a better angle and to get more opportunities for bites. Many bays and backwater areas are cut off from the main lake. This gives you an opportunity to hit places that haven't been pressured by boats and other anglers. Look for creeks off the main lake. These areas get too shallow for boats to pass through, but oftentimes will get deeper and have little pockets that will hold lots of fish in them as you move away from the main lake. Real good. Let's go to the next. Raining out here more than I thought it would be. It's supposed to be clearing up. Trying to come up here without dying. Falling. It's about as low as I've ever seen up here. I've seen it low. Try a spot from a couple different angles with a couple different presentations. If you don't see any signs or promising action, move. Pick up all your stuff and move to the next spot. Maybe there's bass in there. Immediately after casting this glide bait, I saw something make a wake. Now, it was likely going away from the lure, but it was signs that there was some fish moving in the area. Now, as you can see, the water was very dirty. It was like chocolate milk. So I quickly lost confidence in that glide bait, and I reached for something that would send out a little bit more vibration, a little bit more flash. The A-rig is always good to throw when the water's cold. However, the water is really shallow here, so I was going to have to retrieve it much faster than I typically would have. When I was retrieving the A-rig, I did see some small shad jumping up around where the A-rig was passing through, so I decided to pick up a small crankbait. Now, you can pick up little crappie crankbaits, and they work really well to match the hatch when you see those small bait fish jumping. Go. Not much, but something. Itty bitty crankbait. Might be 14, maybe 15 inches. I doubt 15, but all it takes to get a bite. I'll do it. Now, this area is very typical of a lot of different backwater areas. You have really shallow, muddy flats, no more than a couple feet deep. and they drain into a creek that runs through the middle of it, which maybe might get 4 to 5 feet deep at the most. Little areas are perfect to throw shallow running crankbaits, spinner baits, and those types of things. You can cover a lot of water and hit those creek channels, places that are closest to that creek. Does that count? It looked like it was in the mouth for a second. Riprap areas, bridge points, and culvert areas are prime places to use this technique. Go. There's a keeper. I can get it out. All right, it's a nice fish. So after I foul hooked that little shad, I put on something just a little bit bigger, still a real shallow diver because it's really dirt shallow over here. But seemed to hit it, so I'm not totally sold on this yet. I'll throw it a couple more times, see if I can't catch another one. But so far so good. The little crankbait seem to be working. I would definitely suggest also getting a plug knocker for those times when you hang up just out of reach or in just a little bit deeper water than you want to wade out into. Now, Andy Morgan made a plug knocker called the Golden Retriever, and it works really well. It saved me thousands of dollars over the years. Look what I caught. Old crankbait. Rapala. Also keep your eyes peeled because when the water comes down, it exposes a lot of different lures that people lost when the water was up higher. At this point, I tied on a 1/4 ounce red-eye shad. They're really good little lures to fish shallow water. You can cast them very well and they send out a lot of noise and vibration. They work really well when that water is really muddy and stained. You'd be surprised at the size of the fish that you'll find in this shallow water. I've caught a lot of 6+ pound bass in this skinny water, not to mention giants in other species. It was only a matter of time. Holy cow. In hindsight, I wish I had pinned this catfish against the bank with a leg on each side of it. It was easily pushing 50 inches, but it had my crankbait stuck and the line wrapped around it, and I really didn't want to get a hook in my leg or my finger. I believe I was able to get it to the bank quickly because the line was wrapped all around it. However, the fish was still green and had a lot of energy and a lot of kick, and my 20-pound test line was no match for it. Stop it. Stop it. Don't do it. That thing was huge. I'm glad from the camera because he snapped my line. Gave a surge right there at the end. That's crazy. Got my lure. This was just a short trip with reasonable success. Try these tips on your local reservoir. With the water drawing down, access to the bank, and the water is very much open up to you. Try it out. Till next time, guys, tight lines.